just need to master the products that are going to best serve your clients and their family. But then you also need to realize this thing. The product is also you. They're buying you because what the client gets in the relationship, unless they're buying a living benefit on a term product for mortgage protection. But if it's a death benefit, they never get to reap the reward of that. They got to die for their family to get it. But what are they getting in the meantime? They're getting you. What are you giving them to give them confidence about you, about how you're going to handle them, about the relationship that you're invested in, about the interest that you're showing with the people they love and care about? And that's what they're buying.
Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of the Life Insurance Academy podcast, here with the one and only Roger Short.
What's going on, Chris? It's good to have you back in studio. You've been gone too long.
I think I've done 4 in a row, so this is exciting. This is exciting. But we do have some great stuff today. We are talking about 3 things, not 1, 3 things that are going to transform your sales business. That's what we're discussing today.
There's a show that used to come on television. I think they might still run it. And I don't know if he runs new episodes.
There are not, but he's got a new show coming out.
But there's a guy, Marcus Lemonis.
Yes, big fan.
What about Marcus Lemonis do you like?
I always liked, so if you don't know, there was a show called The Prophet where he would find a struggling business and then he would invest in that business and transform the business. Ultimately, he's built this conglomeration of companies that support each other. It's really kind of cool what he's built. And in his communication with people and transforming their businesses, he talks about 3 principles that are non-negotiables. One, when he makes the deal, the non-negotiable is he's in charge. That's how it's going to be.
Yeah.
Regardless of the amount, he's in charge. And they agree to it, and he is.
Yeah.
But the 3 principles are people, process, and product.
Yeah.
That's what makes business work.
He evaluates the business and the success of the business or the failures or shortcoming of the business on that 3-part framework.
Correct.
It's what's the guy who does the cooking shows and he would go into the restaurants and turn them around? You know what I'm talking about? Yes. What's his name? The blonde guy.
Yeah.
Fires up, yells at people
all the time. Gordon Ramsay. Good grief. How did we forget his name?
He'd go into restaurants and he would look for things that worked, didn't work, and then he would point out the things that didn't work, and people would get highly offended.
Yeah.
What do you mean? And they would just get highly offended. But he was right every time. Marcus Lemonis nailed it on the head almost every time. And he's looking at these businesses from an objective standpoint and say, if you get these things right, everything will start to work.
Yeah.
And I think as life insurance salespeople, we either oversimplify or overcomplicate what we're doing. And I say more so overcomplicate than oversimplify. I think way too many people try to read much more into it than needs to. And I think if we break it down to these 3 things, the people, process, and the product, it can really start to help you identify what you need to focus on. And so we'd like to speak into that. We talk about it in our 5-part selling framework. And it's in the piece really where we speak about authority and how you have authority to move forward with your clients. And that comes from developing a confidence in these 3 Ps. So let's talk about the first one, man. The people. What do you need to know about the people, Chris? Who are your people, Chris?
That's a great question.
Do you have people, Chris?
I do.
You do have some people?
I have a crew.
I don't know why I have an accent right now.
I've got a squad.
I just got back from Texas, and I think
that's what it is.
But people
and you're headed to Big Sky.
Big Sky, Montana.
Yeah.
I think they have more of an accent than the people in, well, it depends on where you are in Texas.
Yeah.
We were in Austin. Not much of an accent there.
Did you get something in Austin?
Yeah. Got some good weather.
That's
some time with my wife. Yeah. That's some great
you
times
got
in
a
Austin.
Piece of clothing that you were excited about.
Yeah.
As far as these conversations with about people, the thing I do see is agents who jump in, as they should, and they don't believe certain things about, they do or don't believe certain things about the people they're going to be speaking to. So an example would be they're speaking to a client says, this is for final expense. But the client will say, I have about $800 of Social Security that I'm receiving, and I can't afford much. And because the client or the agent doesn't know the market, they don't know the people or what they're experiencing or what they will experience when they pass, they believe them and think they can't afford to take care of their final expenses, not realizing that they can't afford not to.
Yeah.
So that would be one example. It's like they haven't seen enough of the life of the client or their prospective client to understand how great the need is.
Yeah. It's like people buying a new home. If you're in the mortgage protection space,
Yeah.
you've got a young family, they refinanced or purchased a new home. Say a couple of years they bought a new home, but they never put any mortgage protection insurance in place. All they have is homeowners insurance, which protects the banks, doesn't protect you, protects the banks.
So when they say I already have that, a new agent would believe.
Yeah. Or I already have life insurance.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they may have some life insurance through work, but it's certainly not enough. But what they need to know about that client is who are they trying to protect and why is a policy important for that family? Do they have kids?
Yeah.
Do they have hopes and dreams? Is the highest likelihood that they're going to pass away at that age, or possibly could they become injured or ill? You know, is there another mitigating factor that's going to come into play that's going to prevent them from being able to earn the money to pay for their mortgage and keep their home? And so there's a profile of the client that you need to understand, the demographic, and then the needs of that family. Maybe, and it's a different perspective than what you have. So if you're a young single agent, you've not been married, you don't feel the responsibility of kids.
Right.
You haven't felt the weight of paying a mortgage when things are tough, balancing that with 2 car payments, maybe school education, maybe you're paying for private school, maybe you got your kids in ballet, dance, or little league or some t-ball or something like that. I mean, your son's still playing ball, for crying out loud.
Right.
How long has he been playing baseball for now?
It seems like
Tyler,
50 years.
You said he's got like 5 games this week or something.
This week, yes.
This week. And what year is he in high school?
He's a senior this year.
Senior. He's got 5 baseball games this week.
Right.
And he also travels to play ball too. So like that all has costs. Oftentimes agents don't think about these things that need to be protected when they hear, well, I already have life insurance at work. They're not expanding that out. What do you need to know about your people that's going to help you have context to the value of what you have to sell, what your product is going to be? But
what's the best way? What do you think the best way to do that is for an agent to get that experience? Especially, I think that breakage happens during telesales. I think a lot of times because you're not face to face with somebody, you're not in the living room, you're not seeing what's at stake or what could happen.
Well, I think shadowing somebody, first of all, is paramount. You gotta get in front of people who are doing it and listen to their conversations, listen to their words, but study the market. Like you can learn a lot from ChatGPT and Google right now.
Yes.
You can learn a lot from the carriers. Like who is this designed for? How does it protect them? And what do these additional benefits do for young families? Tell me about that sales desk guy at carrier.
That's really a great point because the sales desk at a carrier that is engaged will be able to tell you where they are getting the most traction on those products from their top salespeople.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And what type of leads they're servicing, what type of, how are they driving sales, that sort of thing. So these are just a couple of examples of knowing your people. If you're working with someone who is interested in doing a tax-free retirement plan or $1 million baby plan, understand the demographic of those people and how perhaps, max funding an IUL strategy for someone young, what that does for them in their future is going to do as far as creating access to cash value in the future that you can get tax-free and also retirement tax-free and what that does. And so that's a certain demographic. Who are they? Like study your market. Yeah. Long-term care. Like there's lots of needs, but if you just take your script and start winging it and you haven't, like Zach says, to become a student of your craft. And one of those things that he highly emphasizes is get to know your client in the general demographic, but then in the specific demographic. So generally, who are these people? And then specifically, who are these people?
And I do think like doing some work of, the actual work of maybe writing out the stakes. How would this help them, and what would their life be like with this, and what would it be like without it, and the implications of those types of things.
Yeah.
That's I did that. Like, I talked to you about the role play pieces with writing out health conditions
with Lisa, who wasn't really Lisa. She always played a different character.
That's right. And it was based on the cards that she drew. And we worked through that together so that I would have a better understanding of the sales process, what it meant, and also the people I was meeting with.
Now, in your actual sales process, when you're with your client, it's important to discover who the people are and what their needs are by asking great questions.
Yeah.
And then having great follow-up questions to their answers.
Yeah.
And the best questions and the best answers come from the questions that are follow-up to the original question.
Yes.
And it is a conversation. It's not just a static set of questions to ask, but it's a discovery into their family, their life, so that you can see life from their perspective.
That's really
as Daniel Pink says, to become attuned to your client. In his book called Drive, he talks about that, or To Sell is Human. Daniel Pink refers to it as attunement, becoming attuned to your client, seeing life from their eyes. That comes from good question asking ability. Like, are you pausing long enough to ask good questions to find out about their family? So once you get to know your people, you can start to formulate a solution. People is huge. Are you ready to launch your insurance career? Excel Solutions is your go-to leader in life, accident, and health insurance pre-license training. Their cutting-edge e-learning platform is packed with rich content. Think interactive assessments, engaging videos, and customized learning paths, all tailored to your learning style. Being students ourselves, we've trusted Excel now for years to deliver top-notch training, offering high pass rates. Their streamlined prep review courses and the exam simulator are really your secret weapons to nailing the state exam the very first time. Now, you thought it couldn't get any better. Well, it just did. Life Insurance Academy listeners, you receive an epic 50% discount, reducing the regular course fee from $199 to only $99. So, all you have to do is use partner code LIA at liapodcast.org/Excel. Now, Excel spells XCEL. So don't think about it any longer. Dive headfirst into your insurance career with Excel Solutions' premier pre-license training with that exclusive 50% discount just for you. Get the code, get licensed, and excel in your insurance career.
You've kind of dovetailed into this next part is the process. I speak to a lot of agents who don't have a process, and they are selling off of confidence. So they're getting the sales, but they aren't sticking. So they are confidently able to have a conversation with people and direct them to a decision. I talk to other agents who are not selling at all because they were given a script. They didn't know what it meant at all. It was just words on paper and
study this, practice it.
Yeah.
Do what I give one.
Do what I do.
Record yourself.
Yeah. That becomes the step. And then they're kind of lost. They don't really have a process. I appreciate the things that you have taught in regards to this simplified sales process. I joke, like when I started, I felt mechanical at first because I didn't understand how the process worked with the people side of it. So those two coming together. So I felt very mechanical. And then I understood the people side. And I felt like I was getting somewhere, but it wasn't until I really got to understand the science behind the process and how it worked with that people connection. Man, that's where the magic happens.
Confidence also comes with knowing your process. If you know what you're saying, why you're saying it, it's practiced, it's rehearsed, but you also understand the principles that you're trying to accomplish inside of that script, inside of that presentation, that 5-part selling framework, right? Belief, trust, stakes, option, solution. If you know where that sits, and whether you get off script or not, where you are, and you can still have a confident conversation. It gives you authority because your client can see you have a process. You've spoken about your process. You've laid out your process, and you're taking them on a journey to get to discovery through values of what they're looking to accomplish, and then how that lines up with underwriting and what they can qualify for, to an application and approval. Ultimately, you're letting them know what your process is. And if you state that, you specify it, and you take them down that road, your client begins to trust you because they see you've done this before. You know your process. It doesn't seem to be this meandering conversation that hopefully is going to land with you giving some quotes in a minute.
Right.
You're not getting off in rabbit holes, chasing weird things down in corners.
Yeah.
You can stay on point because you're confident about your process. I think the best advisors are the ones that come in. They know exactly what they're trying to accomplish, and they guide their clients effectively through that, avoiding landmines and getting them safely to the other side and helping them get approved for a plan to take care of their family.
The one thing I remember you teaching in the sales process, you did this illustration of being in New York City with an expert. You're an expert street crosser.
Yeah.
And you come up to a senior couple who've never been to New York City for the first time. They're seeing the lights, but and
they've got an appointment in that high-rise building across the street.
Yeah. And your job's to help them get across as the expert. They have no idea what's in store for them. But the thing that was interesting to me about that when I'm thinking of process is you said, the solution. But if I'm, I guess, skeptical of this, this is where my skepticism would sit. But it's Mary and John that's at the corner. And they may not have the same specific need as Claude, who's going to be at the corner later. Claude.
He chose Claude of all the names. Yeah, Claude.
We all know Claude, though. We all know he's a rascal. He's a rascal. So
I don't think I've met a Claude in years.
So it could be different than Claude or Susan. The needs are different. So you said there's a specific destination that a confident agent knows. Can you talk about that a little bit? Do you understand what I'm saying there?
Yeah, I mean, there's a general destination.
Yeah,
right. You know that it's important that they get protection in place. They know it too. You just don't know who it's for, why it's important to them, and how much they can afford.
Right.
So the process you may have to navigate the bike lane. You may have to navigate the fact that it's rush hour, crossing the street. So there's going to be different variables, but your goal is you still got to get them over there and earn their trust to get them there.
Yes.
Take my arm, step down here, and I'll make sure you don't step in the grate. There's a grate right there. Please watch where you're stepping. Oh, I didn't see the grate. I know, but I knew the grate was there because we do this every day. And because I know that you're not walking very fast because you're older, I'm going to slow down with you, and we're going to stop at the median in the middle, and we're going to wait for the lights to change. We're going to let the traffic go, and then we're going to come back and cross again when the light turns again instead of trying to make it all the way in one go, because you're not going to be able to hang with me if I drag you across there. I'm going to lose you, and then you're going to freak out, and someone's going to die.
Yeah.
So yes, the general destination, but you also need to know the specifics of that family so that you can successfully navigate it. That's the analogy of
and I
being
think
the
that's
professional street crosser.
That's a great illustration of knowing there's some general ideas, but there are specifics that are necessary that you get to understanding to be able to actually help them build the trust to connect.
Yeah.
So you have the people side and the process. And like when I think of the principled sales process, belief, it is almost hard. I would say it's almost impossible to sell without having a conviction or a confidence in your ability, the product, or the market that you serve.
Yeah, a high level of conviction is probably a good word to use for this idea of belief. We say belief on the front end, but it's really, I say an unquestionable conviction and an undeniable confidence.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And you might think, well, I don't have an undeniable confidence yet. I'm new. I'm only 2 weeks into this. We always say, if you've passed the test, you've gone through training, you are definitely the most qualified person to have a conversation about their life insurance needs, because you might be the first person they've ever spoken to about it.
Yeah.
At least you're trained on it. So you're the most qualified. You might not be the best qualified. You may not be the highest qualified at that point, but you are the most qualified, at that moment. So know that and move forward. But it's going to give you the confidence to move forward. The show, Dave Ramsay, his show was called Kitchen Nightmares. Kitchen Nightmares.
Oh yeah,
And
Gordon
Marcus-
Ramsay, not
Gordon
Dave.
Ramsay. What did I say?
That'd be a
Dave
heck of
Ramsay?
a show.
Did I
would watch
say
it.
Dave?
Yes, you did.
Maybe that was a Freudian slip. There you go. But Gordon Ramsay, Kitchen Nightmares, he would see that they had like stale old food in the fridge that they were keeping. They were buying store-bought this, and they were reheating stuff in the microwave, and he could see their process was screwed up. He's like, guys, it's so obvious to me, and yet you're trying to save money, and you're reheating stuff that needs to be fresh. And then you're wondering why people aren't coming back.
Yeah.
And you've got your focus on the wrong thing. Your process is not right. And it was so easy for him to see it. It was so easy for Marcus Lemonis to go into a business and realize, why are you shipping products over there and then having them repackaged? And then, like, we can consolidate this part, increase that efficiency, get them from point A to point B much faster at a lower cost, and deliver it at a higher profit margin in a faster time. And the whole process streamlines and we make it more efficient. Like, it's so obvious to them, but the people in the middle of it, well, that's the way we've always done it. Right. So that's the way I'm always doing it. Well, that's the way I saw it. So that's the way I'm going to do it. Well, you need to master a process that's efficient with confidence. And when you have that, and you can get some outside eyes, some outside ears on what you're doing, record yourself, sit in so people can watch you on a Zoom, watch you when you're in a call. Have your call debrief. Come to one of our telesales boot camps where we can listen in and give you feedback. But man, you got to know your process, because if you can have an outside coach come in, they can point out very quickly where the thing's breaking down and where you can improve that and
your numbers
and win.
If you have a process, your numbers will tell you the story too. Yeah. And if you don't have a process, you're guessing, and it's all based on how you feel. And we don't know if Dave Ramsay is a good cook or not, but he probably would have been able to turn that business around. I bet he is. I bet you he cooks. Gordon can cook, but we don't know if Dave can cook. Spaghetti. I bet you that's his specialty. There you go. Yeah. What's our last one? Our last one is product, and that is the end result that ends up in the hands of our clients ultimately. And with your products, so whatever market you're serving, whatever vertical you're in, we named a few of them earlier: final expense, mortgage protection, IULs, whatever niche of life insurance sales that you're in. Don't try to overcomplicate and learn 28,000 products, because keep it simple. Someone said the other day, the desire to know everything, I think it might have been Cody at one of Cody's events, the desire to know everything prevents you from doing anything. That's really good. The desire to know everything actually prevents you from doing anything of substance. So when you think about that, like, we don't need to be specialists on all the things, all the products. No. You just need to know the 3 or 4 that are the most used and are going to be the biggest benefit for your clients that you're serving, your families. They're going to be easy for them to qualify for, easy for them to sign, to get applications submitted and approved, and easy for you to process with a quick approval. I mean, that's what people want. Yeah, and the thing I always liked was, in your previous training, you had mentioned a kind of a three-legged stool approach to it. Of, is it good for the client? Is it good for the company? Is it good for the agent? And that goes from underwriting to how the business is written and simplified process for the agents to be able to get the client to do a text signature, voice signature, whatever it is. Is it a good company? And I think those are reasonable questions, because is it priced fairly? It doesn't have to be the cheapest. Some people all think they need to have the lowest price all the time. And that is sadly a mistake, and you're reducing yourself to price and not value. I think it's probably one of the biggest hindrances, actually, to people thinking they need all these different carriers with the lowest price, because ultimately they're buying a relationship with you. In this business of life insurance sales, yes, they're getting a product that's going to deliver to their family, and yes, it needs to be a company that's good for the carrier, the client, and you, the agent. 3-legged stool. And if you kick one of those legs out on a 3-legged stool, that stool is going to fall over. 3-legged stool doesn't stand alone on 2; it won't stand. Make note of that, Adam. It has to be 3, otherwise it falls over. So if it's not good for one of those 3, it shouldn't be in your top 3 or 4. I would agree. Even if someone else is saying, no, you got to go there because they're the lowest price. Well, shoot, if the client can't understand that, if it's too hard to get them underwritten, or they can't figure out how to sign it or get the application submitted, I don't care whether it's $18 a month cheaper. They're not going to take that policy because it's too hard. You can't get them approved. So why are you trying to get them approved for something that you've got a very low success rate of getting them approved on, regardless of the price?
So,
And it may not be highest comp either.
No.
That's where you see these major swings for people like, well, the comp's not high enough.
Okay,
But
so you're going to try to do a harder one with higher comp.
Right.
Go for that. Yeah, you'll sell less.
You get a lot of chargebacks.
You got more to do, but you're making higher, but you lose more of the business.
Right.
Yeah, it's a mess. So you just need to master. You just need to master the products that are going to best serve your clients and their family. But then you also need to realize this thing, and I picked this up from Zach on the training that he did with our team this morning. He said the product is also you.
That's really good. Yes.
They're buying you. Mm-hmm. What are you communicating about you? Because what the client gets in the relationship, they don't get to necessarily, unless they're buying a living benefit on a term product for mortgage protection, unless that's what they're getting. But if it's a death benefit, they never get to reap the reward of that. They got to die for their family to get it.
Yes.
But what are they getting in the meantime? They're getting you.
Yeah.
And so what are you selling? What are you giving them to give them confidence about you, about how you're going to handle them, about the relationship that you're invested in, about the interest that you're showing with the people they love and care about? And that's what they're buying. And it comes from, that's a trust piece that comes from both you showing empathy and authority. So yes, authority is established with the people, the process, and the products. But you have to be that empathetic person when understanding those people, because a lot of what they're buying is you. So you're part of the product.
Very
so
good.
Those are the 3 Ps, man. If
Love
people
it.
could just focus on those, we'd have a winner.
Yeah. I'd love to hear from you guys. What is maybe something that connected with you, resonated with you? Maybe you need to focus more on the people who you're actually talking with. Maybe you need to practice more empathy, be a better listener. I love, go back and listen to the podcast, because you said that the value of the follow-up question, that is gold. And I think people miss that so often in just becoming a human being. So people side, process. Do you have a sales process? If you're at the end of your sale and you didn't get this, or you through the process and you didn't get the sale, are you able to look back and say, well, it was because this, or this were not addressed?
Yeah, it broke down on one of these points.
Yeah. And if you're not, then you don't have a clear process, or you're not participating in a clear process. And then finally, you are the product. Are you a good product? Are you hard to get out of the package?
And do you know the 2 or 3 products really well? Are you hard to get out of the package? Some people are.
Yes.
And do you know the 2 or 3 products that you're going to use the majority of the time? It may be worth you taking a Friday morning, calling all 3 of those carriers, calling the sales desk, and learning everything you can about those 3 companies. Ordering their freaking paper underwriting guide, for goodness sake.
We do tell agents to print out the applications and keep copies of the questions laying around in different places in your apartment or in your home.
And if they got an underwriting guide, order it.
Yeah.
Do you know that insurance companies will send you that stuff for free?
Free.
Order 10 applications, for goodness sake.
If you're broke, use those as paper plates around your house.
10 applications. Order the product brochures. Order the agent guide. Order the underwriting guide if they got one. And study it. It's 3 carriers. And then talk to the sales desk. And then if you ever get a decline, call the underwriter or call the underwriting team and say, hey, which question should have been answered differently on that application? Well, question 3. Okay, I got some homework to do. Now you're going to go back and review question 3 and learn about your carrier and learn about that product and how it best fits with your client. If you master the people, process, and the product, you're well on your way of becoming a profitable, there's another P,
there you go,
life insurance agent in this most wonderful business of insurance and financial services.
Guys, please, if you got value, subscribe, share, put it out there. We'll even let you put it on the old Instagram machine if you would like. Take a clip, throw it on there, brag to your friends that you watch us. It's a weird thing to do, but it'd be awesome. But we will catch you guys on the next Life Insurance Academy podcast. See you then.